More people are crossing the border than ever before. The governor says the federal government's not doing anything to stop it, so it's time for the state to take action. The problem is you can't get to the street I'm standing on right now, Woodlawn, without actually moving one of these barricades. We know that this water was only 6 to 10 inches high earlier today, so what you're seeing behind me right now is runoff. What characteristics do you think of the president are reflected in Mr. Risponi? TSA rescreened the people it allowed to run through the security checkpoints earlier.
He won Louisiana by about 20 points in 2016.
Well, I think the timing of it is certainly important, too. With all that's going on in Washington, D.C. right now, this was very much a campaign stop for the president. Make no mistake, it is a good time. We've got a truck full of empty kegs to prove it. Jim called the race, and the place erupted just like a football game. This is the number they've been waiting to hear for 4 years. Yes, they did, Deb. We told you last night this was likely to be a UTSA takeover. Sure enough, there's a sea of blue and orange behind me. Things are hairy at the moment. Woo! We're going to keep having this same debate over and over and over again until one side blinks or school starts. Sellers are getting 20% more on their homes than they would have this time last year. This is actually a 26% improvement compared to 2 weeks ago. Statewide, we're looking at a similar curve, a 17% improvement. What does it mean to be a leader on a defense that showed up like it did tonight? You can see the Sea of Galilee behind me, and that's where the governor and the rest of the delegation spent much of their day. Has all of this in the pageantry, has it set in?
No, it's never going to set in.
Yeah, Aaron, they're concerned about the possibility of more rain tomorrow because this is how high the water got today. This is a storage facility toward the front of the property near the highway. I'm 5'9" at high tide. It's about to my knees. So if the water had gotten any higher today, we're talking about flooded homes behind me. The highway became a sort of refuge for dozens of neighbors waiting to see how high the water would get.
It was coming in, and it was coming in fast.
Tanya Ruiz loaded her family up in the bed of a pickup when a neighbor said Leon Creek was backing up into their mobile home community.
I told my kids, hey, we gotta go now. And so we all got in the truck. And I actually let my neighbor know in the back because she didn't even know.
She and other residents lined the highway's higher ground, watching as the water moved. Some went back to retrieve TVs and family keepsakes. Others got flooded cars by any means necessary.
The guys went in and went to each door and asked the people if they needed any help getting out.
Battalion Chief Russell Johnson says the San Antonio Fire Department helped evacuate the people who wanted to leave. The Red Cross stuck around just in case homes flooded, though it appears they're dry tonight.
Just nervous, scared. I have a lot of things. I never thought this would happen.
Tanya, like most of her neighbors, didn't lose anything, though she'll spend the remainder of the week throwing trash out of her front yard, not for a lack of trying.
This is about 500 pages of jobs that I've applied for.
Joe Covington is yet to find a gig like the one he lost in hotel security a year ago.
I'm not asking for the same amount of money. I'm just asked to go into a job where I'm trained to do. I'm not good at Waterbury. I don't think I'd be good at the drive-thru.
He's one of 300,000 Texans living off an unemployment check that Congress boosted each week by $300. But now Governor Greg Abbott says there's a job opening for everyone who wants one. So it's time to reduce the payout and get people back to work.
Trials and tribulations in hiring these last few months.
That's welcome news for Dave Saylor, who pays his hourly employees at least 50% more than minimum wage. But sales at the Acadiana Cafe are down 40% because there simply aren't enough servers to take orders.
It's the worst we've ever seen it. We could hire 15 to 20 people right now.
He'd tell you slashing unemployment checks will fix his problem, but that still leaves folks like Covington who just wants to do what he used to. He's got an interview this week.
He's hurting good people.
But he'll blame the governor if he's forced into a job he's not trained for. It's not the library, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a better place at San Antonio College.
Hey, look at that, 1936.
To turn the page.
For God's sake, my grandfather wasn't even born then.
Sergio Medina doesn't look at the Rangers' archives often. Perhaps as the paper's editor-in-chief,
right,
he's too busy adding to them.
Mm-hmm.
But when he does reflect.
Sometimes when you hold some of these physical copies, you realize the weight that it has.
heavy with history.
It's never lost.
America in terrorism's crosshairs, tragedy over Atlantic skies, letters to the editor about the assassin who shot JFK. Go further back, and each story is buttressed
I hope they paid well.
by an ad for cigarettes.
You turn the page, there's another one.
But like most once bustling newsrooms, the Rangers has fallen quieter. Journalism class enrollment is down at SAC, and the paper's faculty advisors are retiring this semester. Without students to write and teachers to teach, there can be no Ranger.
You don't expect something like that to happen. I certainly didn't.
The staff will spend this semester putting together a book on the publication, and nearly a century's worth of yellowing pages already live digitally in the cloud. The community's history is protected, but it will no longer be recorded. You know, there's an old adage attributed to Mark Twain. He once said there are 4 original cities in the United States: Boston, San Francisco, New Orleans, San Antonio. You can certainly feel that when you get here and the cultural overlap between the two, but the basketball franchises, the Spurs and the Pelicans, could not be more different. Here, brass is an instrument of persuasion. It's the sounds that set New Orleans apart and beckon visitors' return.
It's amazing. I love it. I'm definitely coming back.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a deeper melting pot, a tastier gumbo of humanity. But ask what makes New Orleans special, and the answer sounds a lot like the one you'd get in San Antonio.
I love the food. The architecture is amazing. Just how many original buildings there are. I love it. I love the culture here.
Maybe it's the Catholicism, the world-renowned celebrations, or a shared Spanish heritage that make the Crescent City and the Alamo City so similarly unique. Yet for all the cultural crossover, a San Antonio resident probably wouldn't describe their basketball fandom like this.
It's had its struggles.
You'll see more Spurs gear on the Riverwalk than Pelicans gear in the French Quarter. And lately, there's been more talk of relocation than title contention here. But there's new hope in New Orleans, and fans would tell you the Pels are following a model for success awfully similar to the Spurs.
I think that's where we're headed. We got a young core that can kind of be that consistency like San Antonio's had.
So it's fitting. 2 one-of-a-kind cities, now with a chance to add basketball to their list of uncommon commonalities. The message from local doctors: wear masks, get vaccinated, don't gather tonight. For the second year in a row, COVID will follow us into a new calendar. The fast-moving Das Goat fire in Medina County that's destroyed 1,000 acres is no longer spreading tonight. Despite more dangerous weather conditions expected tomorrow, firefighters are confident they can manage these flames. At last check, it is now 95% contained. KENS 5 reporter Vanessa Croy has been on the scene all day, got a first look at the damage. Vanessa, there are a lot of folks ready to get back into their homes. But you can see the lows for the work week behind me shaping up to be chilly, barely brushing 70 this week. Good evening, I'm Matt Houston. You'll need a coat when you head to work, but Jared Silverman, you probably won't need an umbrella for the next few days. But you never forget how to ride a bike, right? But it ain't exactly easy when you do it on a mountain. Just hours from now, lawmakers will vote on a coronavirus compromise, an urgent aid package that means more money for you. Good evening, I'm Matt Houston, and this deal is as last minute as it gets. The package is centered on $600 stimulus checks for most Americans. Schools are preparing for thousands of students to return, some as early as next week. San Antonio's largest district, Northside ISD, continues to monitor the surge in coronavirus cases. Well, an update at 10. Unless you've been under a rock, you've seen Chris Rock get rocked too many times already. A live look at our nation's capital tonight. Thousands of National Guardsmen and women are there now, including 170 from Louisiana. 9 words that continue to confuse. Today, President Biden says he meant what he said. He's just clarifying what he means. Weather Chief Bill Taylor is here. And Bill, obviously conditions have been just right for these fires. What are we hoping for?
You know, we want to get more humidity, Matt. That's number one.
We got breakfast tacos, hot subs, Mexican candy, you name it.
That was just this morning.
All of those, and I'm not pregnant. See you at 10.